Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to the Adventures Travel Club television show. Betty, we're on the Ringstrasse, so that means we're where?
Well, let me think about that. Could that be Vienna?
I think you win the golden ring.
No, I'm going to go on Jeopardy.
You're going to go on Jeopardy?
Yeah, because I know the answers to all these questions that you asked me.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, we are. We're in what would, I guess, kind of be considered the older part or the older city of Vienna, and the Ringstrasse, of course, makes a ring around it. And
Strasse means street.
Yeah, so, or avenue.
Yes,
So anyway, we're taking a look on the right-hand side of some of the beautiful architecture that we see. On the left-hand side, actually, is also beautiful. It's a park. And if you've looked at some of our other programs, you've seen they did beautiful waltzing there with the beautiful music in the evening on the park, and it was just really grand.
I think Vienna is one of the most beautiful cities in the world.
I think you're right.
Clean.
And clean. And if you look at this building right here, do you remember way back when? That was the first place where we stayed when we went to Vienna.
Oh, and it was so beautiful, right? And it was so classy.
And it was so nice because we didn't have to pay for it.
Well, that's always very nice. We were invited to go on a fam trip.
Right.
And so when you get to go on those kind of trips, it was a business trip, but it was still very nice.
Yeah, that was a lovely place. I just want to get another shot of it there because that hotel was very, very elegant and very nice. And of course, all of the places that we've stayed in Vienna have been very, very nice places, and we've enjoyed them so much. This the architecture here, Betty, what I was going to say is, just so classic and so beautiful. You feel good when you look at all this. And of course, the Opera House, which we've seen a few times before.
I like walking around that area there. No cars are allowed in. It's like a mall, a big long mall, and with shops on either side and filled with people, and it's fun, and everybody seemed to be so nice in Vienna. I don't know whether they're just Viennese people or just a happy lot or what, but anyway, I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it too. Maybe it's everybody going to the coffee houses. You suppose so?
Well, I thought it's usually when they go to the bars that they come out happy, but not necessarily, huh?
Hey, look at this painting of all these cats up here on this, and that just goes so well. I mean, that's just empty building there on their side, rather, and looks very interesting. We're going to find out a little bit more about the architecture.
Architect of the Liberty style. Have a look here on the right-hand side, the so-called Majolica house. There are a lot of ceramic tiles on the facade, and what I think is not even an artistic effect, it's also very practical, because if you want to clean the facade of your house, you just call the fire brigade and have it hosed down.
Well, do you suppose that if you want your house hosed down, you could call your local fire department?
I don't think so. I think I'd have to do it myself, but I'd probably take half the wood off or paint off if I did it.
That's pretty nice, though, and I can see, though, it needs to be under controlled circumstances when you take a look at these beautiful buildings that are here. Oh, these are just gorgeous.
How about washing those windows?
No, I don't think that I would like to do that. Thank you very much.
And we are now traveling outward bound towards the Palace of Schönbrunn. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Schönbrunn literally translated would be beautiful fountain. As a matter of fact, the site of Schönbrunn used to be a hunting reserve of the old Habsburg dynasty, and in the middle of the 16th century, one of these Habsburg emperors discovered during a hunting party a fountain delivering very good tasting and very hygienic water. In those times, people did not use to differentiate between good and beautiful. So the actual meaning of Schönbrunn is good water, good fountain, but it's called beautiful fountain. And it became the summer residence of the Habsburg dynasty in the middle of the 18th century, by the doings of Maria Theresia, one of the most important empresses of the Habsburg dynasty. She was a mother of 16 and decided to have for herself and her family a little humble summer residence, a cottage in the countryside with only something like 365 rooms in the central part. That is to say, the part where the imperial family actually lived, together with the auxiliary wings, stables, kitchens, quarters of the servants, and so on and so on. It's more than 3,000 rooms, and they actually needed 3,000 servants during their stay in the countryside to serve a family of, say, something about like 20 persons. But this actually was a reduction, because in the winter residence they at all times had more than 5,000 servants. So they actually reduced their requirements. Now, what we are doing now in something like 10 minutes, it's roundabouts for 8 miles to go out from the center, from State Opera House towards the summer residence. What we are doing now in 10 minutes took about 1 day of traveling in the times of Mary Theresia's 250 years ago, because they took with them all the possessions, all the dresses, all the furniture, whatever they needed. It was actually moving into the countryside. It was not just a trip, it was moving into the countryside, and they stayed in the countryside for at least half a year. Now, why is this? To stay in the countryside in summertime is a very, very old custom that actually goes down to the story of the city of Rome in Middle Italy. If you go to Rome, next to Rome there used to be swarms, and in these swarms the Anopheles midget that contracts malaria used to breed up to 50 years ago. And these ancient Romans obviously did not understand the process of contraction of the malaria epidemic, but they did knew that if during the summer Europe, and what more or less remains to this very day, that's the very reason for the existence of Schönbrunn Palace. You actually see the roofs on the left-hand side of auxiliary wings, as I told you, where certain quarters used to be, where kitchens and stables used to be. We are now going another quarter of a mile just to see the center, which we are going to visit. We are just going to visit the first floor, because only the first floor is open to the public. And just have a look to the left-hand side. We are going for a long while now, parallel already to the buildings of Schönbrunn.
How would you control all that if you had 5,000 servants for your little summer house?
Oh, Marv, I don't know, because I couldn't even control one, I don't think. I have had no experience along those lines. No.
Boy, that's a big staff, though. 5,000 servants for this place.
But you see, after all, look at the authority that she had and the people she had at her disposal.
Yeah.
So for her, I guess it wasn't too bad. Somebody else took charge.
I think a lot of somebody else's took charge, evidently.
Yeah.
And you know where we're going, these gates are just beautiful, this whole area, but this is not the pretty side. This is like the back door, because it's the other side of the palace, which shows all of the beauty where the gardens are. And of course, you know, in the old days, the coaches would come in here, I guess, and let off the people, and that's why this area here, it did have a couple of nice fountains on either side, and you know, that was probably quite beautiful.
Yeah, but that's beautiful. Look at the expanse of that palace. I mean, Lordy, you can see why they could have that many servants in it, right?
And what we just saw there, too, were part of the old stables now that they have made into their offices. If you look up on the second floor, which would be the third floor here, those are apartments that you can rent if you're like a government worker or whatever. And today there are people that rent those apartments up there. Of course, the other floors there, the bottom floor and the first floor, where the royal family of the Habsburgs lived, of course, is now just a museum. And you walk through it, and it is really quite beautiful. However, they do not allow you to take pictures inside, so we won't be able to show you the inside, but we will be able to show you the outside as we're taking a look now. We are on the other side of the palace, and these gardens go on forever. I mean, it spokes out from here in great big lanes because it was a hunting preserve.
Look, there you go.
Yeah.
Get an idea of it now, and there's still something beyond.
And there's something beyond
Yeah.
that, and that's just a small portion of what we're seeing. Let's find out a little bit more about the Schönbrunn Palace.
Residence of the palace of one princess in this case, and what I'm going to try to make clear is the basic structure of these villas, these palaces of the Baroque time. I already told you as a Belvedere that almost invariably these palaces are situated on a hill. As a matter of fact, in this particular case, what you see behind you is simply the lower structure, as the Belvedere was, and at the Belvedere we are standing in front of the upper structure. In this case, this is called the Gloriette, and in this case, it's readily to be seen that it actually did not serve to live in because it's open. On the center part, there are the three arches in the center part, and the center part are now under glass. As a matter of fact, the administration of Schönbrunn nowadays is in the hand of a private company. They have to make money, and they have established 3 years ago a coffee shop. But it actually should be open. It was just a place to do garden parties. And you've got to believe this to me, but behind the Gloriette there's another reservoir where they gathered the water to make work the fountains, unfortunately under reconstruction. But the general outlay is the same as at the Belvedere. And it was in the lower part that people used to live. We are going to see the first floor, also called piano nobile in Italian, the noble floor, where representative apartments and ballrooms and so on were situated, and people actually used to live only in the ground floor. And just imagine yourself, you were living here in the summertime, coming out on a day like this from the ground floor, you were walking out of your apartment, you were under the open sky. However, you were still in a civilized environment, because these alleys, these trees, not by chance are cut like walls. They actually do have the appearance of walls. So when you came out of your own home, you still remained within walls, and only gradually, when you went away from your personal residence, the landscape transformed from a very civilized environment into a park, as these trees are planted. They are not anymore trimmed to any shape, but they are planted trees. So this is a park, and you've got to believe this to me. Below the hill, behind the hill, there would be a more or less a jungle, a wood, another hunting reserve. So gradually, when you went away from your home, nature transformed into its primal state. And one other thing is a period of history that has never happened in your country. I know that Mr. Washington has been invited to become a king of the United States, but he never accepted the job, so you are a republic for the last 200 years. But in the time, in the 18th century, it was a time of absolutism. There is a nice saying by the former king of France, Ludwig XIV, "L'État, c'est moi." The state is me. Everything in absolutism was centered on the person of the prince or the princess. But not only the subjects, but also nature. Nature was trimmed and cut to size, because the prince did not reign only on his human subjects, but also on plants and animals and so on. And everything in the Baroque park was centered, every axis in these alleys was centered on the very residence of the prince. So this is the essential outlay of a Baroque garden.
Well, I could see it would make you a little broke if you had to keep up a Baroque garden,
Oh,
right?
you just cut that out. Those are my lines. You know that. Marvin, I was thinking though, really, if you were living in the palace and you had a daughter that was going to get married and you wanted her to get married back there in that gazebo, what, it would take you a day for the bride to walk
to
up
get
there
there.
and have the ceremony performed. Beautiful, but
Oh, it is. Yeah, it is beautiful. Well, now we're back on the other side of the palace again too. We'd already taken a tour, and this is it really is magnificent. I mean, the stairways here, but of course, this is where all the carriages came up, and this is where the horses, the carriages, they let you off, and then they had some areas that I told you about, and we just see them a little bit there. There we go. It's coming in the picture now on the right-hand side. Those were the stable areas for the horses. In fact, I think, Betty, if I'm not mistaken, back in there, I think some of those carriages, the ones that Maria Theresa had, are still on display back there. We didn't get a chance to see them, but you can see that they're still doing some more work over here.
they have remained stable through the years.
Very stable through the years, right? And this must be the places, I think, where the servants probably lived. Not too shabby.
No.
Coaches would be parked here, and what horses would do, what they ever do when they stand still. So there was a nice smell over the place, and this is the reason why this courtyard never has been a garden. It was, in the sense of the word, a coach park, and well, it has remained this way to this very day. That's the reason why there's a complete difference between the gardens on the other side, which was family park, and this is the public so-called hearing home.
Well, we have been through this a couple of times, Betty, and it's very, very impressive the way that they have everything on display within the palace itself. And so if you ever are in Vienna, make sure that you have the opportunity to go out and visit this beautiful palace, because it certainly is a place to see, isn't it?
You will see it when we go to Oberammergau.
That's true.
That's
Yeah,
part
I think we
of
get
the
a chance
agenda.
to do that.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
And now we're going to leave. We're going to leave Vienna, and we've already had that tour. It's the next day. We can see, and some of the buildings here that you may have seen during part of one of the other shows when we did a little bit more of our city tour. But this is early in the morning, and it's beautiful anytime, isn't it?
Yes, I agree with you. And we are always so lucky about the climate, the weather. I was going to say, what is the difference between climate and weather? And I have to remember the difference. So we had excellent weather.
We had excellent weather.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. And we're lucky that way. We've been very, very fortunate. I don't think we've ever been really rained out of any place that I know of.
Well, it's rained because our viewers have watched us with the windshield wipers
right,
going back.
but we've been inside the bus. Now, if you look real carefully, you're going to see a little statue of Mozart as we go by the park over here, and he's right there.
Great.
That's it.
The Parliament, and it's built in what we call a neo-Greek style, because we consider Greece to be the home of democracy. And the fountain outside, you have Pallas Athena, and look at the mosaics behind the pillars at the entrance there.
Well, there's still a lot to see, even though we're on our way out of town.
This used to be an army barracks during the last century, and nowadays it's the headquarters of the traffic police in Vienna, here on the left. So originally a barracks, you can see, looks like a fortress.
Pretty nice looking barracks, if I say so myself, and I just did. Now, Betty, you mentioned just a little bit ago about we're going to be able to see this again. We're going to go to Vienna when we go to Oberammergau in the year 2000. You want to talk a little bit about that, because you've actually sold that trip out already, haven't you?
Yeah. Would you like me to talk about? You want to twist my arm, or
I'll twist your arm.
All right, twist my
I know
arm.
that you really
Just twist
don't
my
want
arm,
to talk
because
about it. Yes, you do.
I'm always so reluctant, to talk about things like that. No, it is true. We are completely sold out for our trip to Oberammergau in May. So I have started another one, and we will be going in September of the year 2000. That is going to be the end of the Passion Play. It does complete its cycle in September. And so it should be a really nice time. However,
Can I interrupt you for just a minute?
Sure.
Okay, I just want to
No.
point out that no, we were going by the Vienna Woods there, and then we're going to wave bye-bye to the Blue Danube River as
okay,
we're going
you want to
over it, okay?
sing? I mean,
No,
you want
no,
to
no,
take
no, no,
o-
no.
you
I'll
would-
turn it back to you. You talk
Oh,
more
come
about
on,
Oberammergau
come
Passion.
on. Da, 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 da,
No, that's enough.
No, okay, all right. Now, where was I when I was so
You were
rudely
in
interrupted?
Oberammergau, and you were talking
Oberammergau.
about it's going to be the end of the season. So, and you're going to
Okay.
put another trip together because the first one that we have is totally sold out.
Well, my goodness, I congratulate you. You were listening.
I was listening, right?
You didn't turn me off. Okay. The thing is, with the trip in September, what I'm going to have to do is determine how many people would be interested first, because I am penalized $500
Oops.
a person per ticket. So I do have to have.
Now, why you better explain why you're penalized.
Oh,
What do you mean?
Oh, I mean, if I order, like if I start the trip in September and I take, say, 30 people, if I have gone ahead and made all the arrangements for 30 people
Right.
and say 25 only go, I still have to pay for those 5 tickets. That's how scarce the tickets are.
And the tickets to the play itself are $500.
Well,
right?
I don't know that it's
But that's included in the-
500,
that's
but that's
included in
oh
the
that's
price,
included
yeah.
in the price.
Yeah.
But that's what I would be charged, the $500. And so if you have 10 people that don't go,
Yeah.
that's $5,000
Okay.
bucks.
So with that being the situation, then how are you going to handle this then?
I'm going to take phone calls and have people tell me. Then I will refund their deposit if the trip doesn't
If it doesn't materialize.
Right.
Okay. So we know that we already have the one trip that is filled up, and if you still want to go to the Passion Play in Oberammergau, and I really encourage you, if you've had any desire to do it at all, and
You can't wait another 10
you
years.
can't wait another 10 years, right?
No.
Because it's spectacular, and that is a beautiful time to go too. And it is the countryside, of course, is a little bit like what we're seeing right here. Some of it in southern Germany, more mountains, of course, but you'll still get these wonderful pastoral scenes that you see here. This is what I like. This is what I always pictured. This is what Europe is like. You go into these little villages, as we're going to go through this one right now, and then you're literally on these little 2-lane roads. That's happens to be the highway through the towns that we're going, because we're going into the Czech Republic. We were heading up to Prague from Vienna, and of course this is the way that we go. But I just love it.
Isn't it funny how they built the highway right where the houses are?
Yeah,
Do you think
you-
which do you think came first, the hen or the chicken or the egg or the house or the road?
I don't know. All I know is that if the window on the bus were open, you could probably reach right out and touch one of the
touch them.
buildings, But I don't think I'd want to live quite that close to the main
I don't
highway.
guess they have much choice.
Probably not. No, especially if that was a family home and it had been in your family for 300 or 400 years. But as you see, we're going through these little villages, and it's very nice and very peaceful.
Marv, I have to compliment you. I hate to do this because I'm afraid it'll go to your head, but you really do a fine job of photography, and I do think the camera that you use is so good because
we've got a
look
great
at
little camera
how
now.
vibrant the colors
Yeah.
are. Everything
This is a little-
comes out so beautifully.
Betty, this is a little digital camera that we have, and it's really wonderful. It really is. And it puts out some beautiful pictures. And
But
we're-
you see, it's only as good too as the person that takes the pictures. You have to know where to aim it.
No, I think you could just aim
Not
it anywhere
really.
and get beautiful
What do you
pictures.
think would happen if it were me doing it? We wouldn't have it on the air. That's for sure.
Well, I don't know. This camera is a little different than the other ones that we've had. The other ones were kind of like shoulder mount cameras. You could rest it on your shoulder.
Yes, when you came
You
home,
can't
you
do
were
that with
always
this one.
crooked. One shoulder was
was
up
leaning
higher
to
than the
one
other.
side.
Yes, you were leaning. So it was a godsend.
You
when-
don't think that was a fine Viennese wine, huh? It was
No,
just it was a camera.
it was the camera. Really, you were lopsided.
I was lopsided. Well,
Yes.
I've been called that before. Hey, look, here's some beautiful vineyards out here. Oh, wow. Speaking about wine.
Yeah. Well, they do have a fine reputation for their wines. The
Oh, there's some
Viennese
beautiful wines.
Now,
This
all of this
country.
area, and with the rain is good. The climate is conducive to good growing of crops.
Well, yeah, as you can well see, because look how green it is here. It is really.
Think we're in
absolutely
Ireland?
Kind of looks like it, huh? Yeah, it is. It's really beautiful. No, we're still in Austria, but we are headed to the Czech Republic, and we're on our way to go up to Prague. Of course, there's, as you can see there on the sign, and Prague is, what a magnificent city that is.
Now, don't give it away, because
Okay, I won't.
wait till we
Wait
get
till we
there,
get there.
then they'll have to tune in and watch the next show. Was it the next one we'll be there?
Oh yeah, yeah, because
So-
we're going to cross the border here
Right now.
I mean, pretty quick.
And
yeah,
get our
in about a minute or
passports
so.
stamped and all that
Yeah,
good
if
stuff.
you want to do that, that's right. You can do that. Look at a little church here on the side. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
So you just wind through these little towns like this. I think it's really marvelous. It really is. Anyway, more about Oberammergau when we have the chance to talk about it for a little bit.
Okay, more about Oberammergau. Well, our first trip is going to be in May.
Which is sold out.
Which is sold out. Oh, and that is such a lovely feeling to have something sold. For me, it's
Right.
nice. And so we've still had other people interested in it, and I have started a wait list. Well, that wait list actually is for May in case somebody gets sick, and
Yeah.
then they will be put into that. But because of the interest in the trip itself, we're going to start another one in September if we have enough people
That's
that are
right.
interested.
Okay. By the way, we're going to just about now leave Austria and cross the one border here. And Betty will give you her phone number if you are interested here at the end of the show. And we would really like to know, because as Betty says, it's important that we have enough people to make that second trip a go. Well, here we are. We're going to pass through, which we just did, and it says, "Welcome to a casino." Just as soon as we crossed the border, Betty, it sort of looked a little bit like, when you cross into Nevada.
Yeah.
Because there's a
Happy
gaming place over there. I mean, you can go and gamble.
But there's actually one now in Jerusalem.
Is
Where
there?
am I heading for? When I'm going, I don't really quite recall where it is I'm heading for, but there's a big brand new one in Jerusalem.
In Israel?
Yeah, Israel. I mean, that's
Oh,
better.
I think down
in
at
Israel, not Jerusalem.
yeah, down at Eilat.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's it.
There's that's quite a
Huge
resort area.
one. Yeah.
Well, anyway, here you can see we're just we're kind of in that no man's land. I don't know exactly where the
That's
we must have
Disneyland
crossed
right
the border.
there.
That's
You see the gray castle walls.
Right. Well, here we're coming up though to the passport control for the Czech Republic. So I guess we're already there. So anyway, we're going to go into what was Czechoslovakia, and look, Betty, there's our sunflowers again. Aren't they beautiful?
Yeah. It's just
Feels
a
something.
massive yellow.
I looked at that and I thought, I wonder if I'm in the land of Oz.
ODDS.
No, just OZ. Yeah. Well, listen, if you're interested in any of our trips that we have coming up, and we've got some great plans, just give Betty a call at 488-7443. And Betty, you'll be happy to tell everybody about it, right?
I'll be happy to. You are so right.
Okay. It's time for us to say goodbye. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.